Hey everybody. Welcome back to Ken Michaels Radio, where we talk about the Beatles exclusively on this channel. And every now and then, didn't plan to say now and then, but every now and then, we do something here on the show called the Ultimate Beatles Trivia Show. This is our 10th one in the series, and we bring on three guests who all have some fun testing their knowledge on all things Beatles, group and solo, their history and their music on this show. All three guests have been on my channel before, and we welcome them all back. First of all, there's John Borack. John is a writer and editor for Goldmine magazine. A couple of years ago, he put out this book called The Beatles 100, 100 Pivotal Moments in Beatle History. We had him on the channel to discuss this book. We also had him on with a few other special guests like Kit O'Toole and Glenn Greenberg. We did a John Lennon tribute show. Also, a few years ago, we had John playing the drums here on this channel, and he talked about his 10 favorite drumming songs from Ringo. So, John, welcome back to the channel.
It is a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Ken.
Okay. And we also have Doug Wolfberg, who was on the channel a few shows back. This is his relatively new book called FAB But True. And it's all, a whole bunch of stories in Beatle history that some of us have heard about. The most knowledgeable Beatle fans will, but they're lesser known stories in Beatle history, like the story behind How Do You Do It and the painting that the Beatles made in Tokyo, all four of them collaborating on that. We discussed that on the channel here. Excellent book, highly recommend it, as well as Beatles 100. Doug, welcome back.
Thank you, Ken. Good to be here and good to be with these esteemed Beatle colleagues.
Yes, all of my shows have esteemed Beatle colleagues. And last but not least, Rick Glover, who for many years wrote for Beatle Fan magazine and also is a member of Fans on the Run, a group that has seen Paul McCartney in concert probably more than many of us combined. I think I've seen Paul maybe 25 to 30 times. That's small potatoes compared to Rick here. I always ask you this, and I never remember. About how many times have you seen Paul, you think?
Hi, guys. My personal number is 159 now.
Okay.
So, but that's since 1976. I started pretty early, at least, with that. But now it's not a group. It's not a club. It's not. It's more like the Utopia national anthem. It's a state of mind. If you think you're a Fans on the Run guy, you're a Fans on the Run guy. So, or person at least. So it just started with the phrase and badges and little signs like this. So we have a very informal club like that, but it's always great to share the screens with fellow Beatle fans, and great to see you guys love your book and getting ready to find yours too. So,
all right. So it's kind of like a Plastic Ono band. We all
yes,
members. Okay.
like it or not.
All right. So for some of you who are new to the trivia show, the way this works is there are, in true Beatle tradition, 9 games or trivia questions in the show. The first 3 are worth 1 point each. The next 3 are worth 2 points each. The 7th one is worth 3. The 8th one is worth 4. And the last one is worth 5. Unlike Jeopardy, you can't lose points in this show except one particular way. The only thing complicated is if you are able to answer correctly the trivia question or the game that's number 7, not only do you win 3 points, but you have a choice. You could automatically elect to be the first person to get the 8th one, in which case you have to pick between 3 different Beatle games or trivia questions. And if you get it correct, you win 4 points. But if you don't, you lose 4 points. It's the only time in the game when you can lose points. But if you choose to be the first, you can run away with the game. by getting the 4 points. So it's up to you. You don't have to do that. You can be treated like the other two contestants and go for 4 points with a trivia question or a game equally. Okay? That's how
I'm
that
feeling the pressure already. I don't know.
Yeah, were either of you two guys math majors?
I always say if I
we'll
could do
see.
math, I would have gone to med school instead of law school. So definitely not my strong suit.
Okay, another thing that you have to know, since this is a low-tech game and we don't have buzzers or anything like that, if you know the answer or answers that I'm looking for, raise your hand, say your name. The first person who does that is the first one who can qualify to get the points. But if, say, 2 of you or 3 of you raise your hands and say your names at the same time, and I can't tell who was first, you all have the chance to score points by writing it down on a pad, which I've asked all 3 of you to bring, and a pen, if that does happen. And so that way, oh, very nice. Brings, you got the weaklings there. I got the weaklings here. Their new CD. Big fan of them, John?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Great band.
I'm hoping to have them pretty soon on the channel to talk about the new album. And also, if any of these trivia questions or games require more than one answer, I'm going to ask you, the first person who's going to be guessing, to say all the answers. At the end of that, I'll tell you if you're correct or not. I'm not going to tell you one at a time if each answer is correct, because then you're giving it away for your opponents right there. Okay, so what do you say we get started here? For 1 point, our first game, well, it's a trivia question. What Beatles song other than Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds makes reference to Lucy in the Sky in the song's lyrics? For 1 point. What song other than Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds makes a reference to Doug?
I am the Walrus.
That's right. See how they fly like Lucy in the sky. See, Doug, before we got started here, he was convinced that he wasn't going to score at all. And he got the first one.
Okay, that will be the extent of my scoring. So get that out of the way.
You're ahead of me.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, we have a game called All Those Years Ago, version 2, which is much more difficult than version 1.
Great.
What I'm going to do is name these greatest hits and best of collections, and these are all from the solo Beatles. You've got to put them in perfect chronological order of their release. Okay, so once you raise your hand, if you want to give the answers, you have to give all 4 of them, and then I'll tell you if you're correct or not.
You mind if we take notes while you're listing them?
You mean write down the titles?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
No problem.
Thank you.
The first one is Blast from Your Past. Second one, The Best of George Harrison. Third one, Shaved Fish. Fourth one, Wings Greatest. Arrange those 4 in perfect chronological order. If you could do so, just raise your hand and say your name.
I'll try it, Rick.
Oh, wait. Rick, see, that's what I mean. Rick and John at the same time raise their hands.
Uh-uh.
So if you want to, you can both write down your answers, because I can't tell who raised their hand first. And so both of you can actually score in this case. Are you ready? Rick, do you want, oh, wait a minute.
I'm written down.
Let's wait till you wrote it
I'm
down.
still writing here. Hold on. Sorry.
Wait till you're both ready.
Okay.
All right, Rick, let's start with you.
I'm going to go with Ringo, John, Paul, and George.
In that,
Blast, Shaved, Wings, and Best of George.
not correct.
Not correct.
Okay,
All right.
John.
I'm going to go with Best of George Harrison, Blast from Your Past, Shaved Fish, and Wings Greatest.
Okay, you're both wrong. The first one was Shade Fish.
Oh,
Came out October 20th, 1975, followed by Blast from Your Past, November 25th of 1975. Then The Best of George Harrison actually came out in 1976, November
Wow.
8th. And Wings Greatest didn't come out until 1978.
If I would have been bold enough, I would have gotten it right.
wow.
Okay. I'm trying to think if I should let you get credit for that.
Well, I stopped writing when I wasn't writing when you gave the answers, so. But
What do you think, guys?
no, not fair. I did not buzz in,
Okay.
so I do not want points. But it boosts my self-confidence, so it's worth it for that alone.
We will split his points.
Oh, okay. We'll make up the rules as we go, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
All right. Third one here for 1 point. Another trivia question. What Beatles song did John Lennon once describe this way? That's me trying a rewrite of This Boy, but it didn't work. John.
Yes, it is.
Very good. Okay.
Nicely done.
So John has 1 point and Doug has 1 point. And Rick is getting ready for an assault. All right, so now we move on to 2 points here. Trivia question. Who co-produced George Harrison's album 33 1/3 with him? John.
Russ Titleman?
No.
Well, he should have produced it.
Russ Titleman was the George Harrison album.
Oh,
Rick,
Yep.
was it Legs Larry?
Nope. Doug, you want to give it a shot?
No, I don't have any other guesses.
It was Tom Scott.
wow.
All right. Didn't know that, huh? What's that?
Zero.
It's not going to stay 0, Rick. I have faith in you. So the next thing we're going to do here is a game called Do the Math.
Oh, no.
I'm going to ask you 2 questions here. Each one of them has a number answer. And you've got to give me both answers, the numbers for each, add the 2 together, and tell me what you got. And I'm not going to tell you if you're correct until you give me all the answers. Okay? The first one. How many cover versions of songs were on the British album For Help? Cover versions, songs the Beatles didn't write. How many cover versions appeared on the British album For Help? And the second one, how many songs on the Wings album London Town were written by Paul and Denny Laine? It's still worth, if you're not sure, just guessing. John?
That's what I'm going to do.
Don't say
What
the
do you-
song titles in any way. Just give numbers. And then
I believe the first number is 2. And I believe the second number is 1.
not correct. Doug?
I was going to say 1 and 0.
Not correct.
Yeah.
That leaves you, Rick.
I'm going to say 1 and 4.
All 3 of you got it wrong. First of all, the number of cover versions on the Help album, 2. There's Act Naturally, Dizzy Miss Lizzie.
Dizzy.
How many songs on London Town were written by Paul and Denny Laine? 5.
Really?
London Town, Children, Children, Deliver Your Children, Don't Let It Bring You Down, More Moose and the Grey Goose.
Oh.
Oh, so Denny's partially responsible for Morris Moose, Grey Goose. His fault, too.
Excuse me?
I didn't listen carefully enough to your question.
Oh,
That was my dumb fault, but I would have gotten it wrong anyway because I forgot Dizzy Miss Lizzie.
You know why this is sort of embarrassing, Ken, is one of the bands I'm in, Pop Dudes, we just released a 5-song EP digitally, a tribute to Denny Laine, where we covered Denny Laine songs. that he did while with Wings. And so I should have known. I should have known there was more than one, but I didn't.
Okay. You're gonna have to send me those files. I want to hear those covers.
I will. I will do that.
All right. So now we move on to a game called The Word. Again, this is for 2 points. And I'm just going to mention a word that appears in the lyrics of a Beatles song or solo Beatles, but it's not a common word that you're going to hear. You got to just name the song. The word is affidavit.
Doug, is it Sue Me, Sue You Blues?
There you go. Doug.
Oh,
Running
I
away.
thought you said Beatles song. I'm sorry. I thought you said Beatles song.
Beatles or solo.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
So Doug has 3, John has 1, and Rick is still trying to get a few points here. All right. Now we move on to the bigger points. For 3 points here, name the 4 major venues or clubs the Beatles played in while in Hamburg, Germany from 1960 to 62, and in chronological order.
Oh,
Hey, some people know this just like that.
We're not 3 of them.
All right. I think
hold
you'll
on.
be able to
Thinking.
name all 4, but maybe not in order. So did you want to go first, Rick?
No. I can only think of 3.
Okay.
Here, I can only think of 3 too.
Yeah, I probably got the same 3 that you guys have.
So if none of you get this correct, then okay, you can try, Rick.
Bambikino?
No.
No.
Where they lived.
Yeah, that's where they stayed. That's where they, it's like their room.
And then the other 3. I thought that might be the 4th.
So if none of you can get this right, then we don't have to worry about choosing between the 3 games from the person who got this correct. The 4 clubs they played in Hamburg.
I'm going to try, even though I know one of them is probably not right, but maybe it'll come to me when I'm saying the other 3.
Okay.
The Kaiser Keller.
Keep
You're
going.
not going to tell me as I okay, Kaiser Keller. The Indra, the Star Club, and that 4th one that's on the Reeperbahn somewhere.
I can give you the 4th one.
Okay. So
I
do you
don't know
want
the
to give
4th.
up? Doug, do you want to give it a shot?
It would be the Star Club that in the order. It would be
The smallest
top
one.
10 Kaiser Keller, Star Club, and Indra.
Okay, well, you got all 4 of them, but you didn't get them in the right order.
Yeah, okay.
It was Indra, Kaiser Keller, Top 10 Club, Star Club.
I should have known that. I talked about the Indra as their first stop in my book.
Okay. I'm going to have to do a show that's based on everything that's in FAB But True. And then you'll win. Well, you should anyway.
I'd have to reread my own book.
All right, then. So we have to care about picking between those 3 games or trivia questions. So now we're just going to do our 8th game or trivia question, which is worth 4 points. And first person to raise their hand gets the first stab at it. What was the last Beatles album to hit #1 in the US on the Billboard album charts? John?
Beatles 1.
That's right. Very appropriate in a way.
Yeah.
So, John, you have 5 points now. And that means that brings us to our last game or trivia question. And all of you can write this down. So all of you have the opportunity
Excuse me.
score in this one. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We write it down or raise our hands or both?
So
Just
you all
write it.
write it down. You all have a chance equally. What two solo Beatles albums were released in 2005?
Hmm.
Two albums from the solo Beatles, both released in the same year. I would love to give clues while we're doing this, but that wouldn't be fair.
Hmm.
Two solo Beatles albums in the same calendar year. And they were spread apart by a few months, so. Are we all ready?
Do they have to be in order?
No. I'm giving you a break this time. You don't have to hear the word chronological.
Oh man.
Think about that time period. Which Beatles were putting out, or even if you include posthumous releases, you know, the most material. Think about what came out in that decade around that time.
That's tough.
It is tough. Well, one of them doesn't seem tough, and one is impossible unless you're a fanatic. At least to
Well,
me. I don't know.
all right. Are we ready? Have we all written something down?
I'm ready, but wrong. So
Yeah, same here.
Okay. Are you ready, Rick?
I'm ready. I know I'm wrong, but I'm ready.
We'll start with you, Rick.
I'm going to guess press to play and time takes time.
You're way off. Press to play. Well, Press to play was 1986. And Time Takes Time was 1990.
89.
No, 92.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was doing material with the All-Star Band in 1992 from Time Takes Time. Okay. John, what have you got?
I have Chaos and Creation in the Backyard from McCartney. And I have, I know this is wrong, but I have Vertical Man from Ringo.
You're close. Let's see if Doug has it anyway, before I give the answers.
I had Chaos and Creation and Ringo Rama.
You're even closer.
But not right, apparently.
Chaos and Creation in the Backyard came out September 12th. And Choose Love from Ringo.
Ah,
So you both had Ringo on your brain, but you had the wrong albums.
Dang.
Okay. So the final score is John, who is the winner at number 5, and Doug finishing in second place. Rick, who I think you should come back on the next show to redeem yourself if you want.
the gummies kicked in about the second question. So
Very nice.
what's the math confused me. I was done.
Oh, okay. But you had fun, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Congratulations,
So,
John.
I'd like to say thank you on behalf of the group and ourselves, and I hope I passed the audition.
You did.
So you want to tell us anything about what you got going on right now, John? Between Goldmine or anything you're writing? Do you still have anything called Let It Be?
Yes, I still play in a Beatles cover band here in Southern California called Let It Be. We have a weekly showcase down in Huntington Beach, right on the beach. It's beautiful. Starting on every Sunday morning in March, brunch with the Beatles. Also playing a band called Pop Dudes. I mentioned earlier we have a new EP just out, a tribute to Denny Lane, with 5 songs he either wrote or co-wrote that he did with Wings.
Mm-hmm.
And still promoting the Beatles 100, and have a new book coming out towards the end of the year called Keep Reaching for the Stars. Look at the music of the 1970s, singles specifically,
Okay.
and still writing for Goldmine. My latest thing up there now is a ranking of all the UK Beatles albums, best to worst, because I was asked to do that, even though it's sort of impossible and changes day to day, but that's on the website, goldminemag.com.
That's very true. Although my favorite Beatles album has stayed at #1 for quite a while, which is the White Album.
You know, that's what I ranked as #1. That wouldn't be my favorite, but that's what I ranked as #1 for the sake of this article. But my favorite is the UK version of Hard Day's Night.
Oh, okay. You're not the only one that said that.
Hmm.
There's something about A Hard Day's Night where it's just got so much energy. It just sounds so fresh.
I think it was the movie that really brought Beatlemania to our right into our faces. You know, we saw the Ed Sullivan Show maybe for 3-5 minutes at the most or so, but then you could go to see Hard Day's Night in the theater, huge screens, right close-ups right in their faces that just drew you in, and I think that's what makes that that record and movie a special moment in Beatlemania. From at least for me, I've always the impact that Hard Day's Night made was so important. I think so. Favorite album too.
There's a lot of new fans out there that discovered the music without even seeing the movie, and they can
True.
enjoy it just as much. But yeah, definitely.
For us, I mean,
yeah.
My generation.
Well, I hope the new fans get to see the films too.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of the films too, I would just watching the Let It Be or Get Back show on Disney again, because try to follow the days of January with the program. You know, this is the 21st day or something right now of the Get Back sessions. But I was the more you notice, the more you watch, the more you notice some of the details or some of the things that are missing. Mentioned the White Album just a second ago. They refer to several songs in the White Album while they're saying should we be playing Obla Dee, Back in the USSR, several of them. But you know, throughout the entire 11 hours of that thing, or however long it is, there's never one snippet, a mention, a reference to "You Know My Name, Look Up the Number." And they chose that song to be the B-side to the hit, or the theme single on that thing, but there's never one even reference to "You Know My Name, Look Up the Number," one of my favorite songs in that entire production there. And it's really strange that if that was such a significant piece to slap on the B-side of Let It Be, that you would think that there would have been some moments that they were fooling around with that. Or
I'm not sure why I'm raising my hand again. It's not a trivia question to answer, but I think the reason for that might be that they actually recorded that for the most part in 1967.
True.
They had probably forgotten about it by the time they were at Twickenham doing the Let It Be session.
That just made me think of that. That's very odd that they would snip that out of the past like that, or without any type of. I thought it might have been on their mind, but I just happened to notice that watching the last Get Back through. That's a missing, at least a question mark, is where that came from or why it wasn't included.
But they picked up on the song again in '69 to finish it off. But you know, I don't know who wrote it. It might have even been you, Rick. Someone in Facebook said, and I never stopped to think about it. The difference in time between the Beatles on Ed Sullivan in '64 and the Let It Be sessions, 5 years. Think of how much change there was from that moment to the Get Back, Let It Be sessions.
Yep.
5 years is nothing, and they went through so much change. It's incredible.
Pressure cooker.
Yeah, when you think of going from I Want to Hold Your Hand to I Am the Walrus, or you could take two songs in any era, early Beatles, mid Beatles, or late Beatles, and when you put the elapsed time next to the quantum leap in creativity, it's unfathomable.
Yeah.
She loves you. I want you.
Yeah.
And when you think it was 2.5 years between, Beatlemania and Revolver.
Hmm.
2.5 years. That's incredible. Incredible.
They were the Beatles.
More things to be so impressed by. I was going to say, Love Me Do to A Day in the Life.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Pick any two songs and the
Yeah.
span, it defies logic.
most
And that's
bands.
why we're all here. That's why we're all here doing Beatles trivia and not Herman's Hermits trivia.
Well,
said.
you never know what I got up my sleeve, John. There might just be a Herman's Hermit show coming.
Salmon's
You're-
in it.
You're into something good then, Ken.
Very nice. There might be a hush over the crowd when they're watching the show.
Kind of hush.
It wouldn't be the end of the world.
Oh man.
Hey, you all know this stuff. Maybe not as well as the Beatles, but anything you want to talk about, Doug, of what you got going?
Well, my day job is getting in the way of my Beatle fun lately, but I have to tell you, I've got a very exciting thing on the calendar for tomorrow. I'm going to zip into New York City, zip in, zip out. Ken, you know this, we've talked about it, but one of the chapters in my book is about the painting that the four Beatles did together in Tokyo. And in fact, my publisher put that painting as the inside front cover and the inside back cover of my book. It's called Images of a Woman.
Right.
That painting is going up for auction. First time in over probably a dozen years that it's been on the auction block, next week. And I have arranged with the gracious cooperation of Christie's Auction House to have a private viewing of the painting tomorrow. They're going to unframe it for me.
Wow.
And so I'll be going in tomorrow morning to get a close-up look at the only painting that the four Beatles ever did together. So that's the big thing on my calendar tomorrow. And then I was just talking to Tom Frangione. I told him I'd probably call into the Fab Forum next week and provide an account of getting the close-up unframed look at the picture. So that's my one exciting Beatles piece of news.
How much of a bid are you putting in for it?
I did actually register and qualify to bid, but I think it's going to be a little rich for my blood. The pre-auction estimate on in their catalog is 400 to 600,000, well beyond my range. But I think it will go for more than that. I think the estimates in the auction houses are usually low just to get more bidder engagement. I think it'll go for at least 3/4 and could well go for over $1 million.
I would expect it to. It's the only,
Yeah.
There's only one. And this is
It should go for over $1 million, but just getting to be, to get a private showing of it and unframed, so it won't be under glass. I'm very excited about what tomorrow morning holds.
okay.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Enjoy
very
that. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining me here for this. I hope you had fun.
Had a
And,
blast.
all of our viewers had fun and hopefully did fairly well. If you got a few of them correct, kudos to you. Some of these
Even
are.
if you didn't.
What's that?
Even if you didn't.
That's right. This is all for fun here. So thanks so much for tuning in. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. And again, thanks guys for being part of this, and we'll see you all next time.